The next thing we're going to do is try, this is an area I'm not good at, and my hesitation is clearly apparent. I'm not an artistic guy. I've been saying that the whole time. Meanwhile, I'm building a table purely based on artistic premises. So I think I have a solution that I want to try for these burnt through joinery, the pins that were, you can see this one, these two up here, and this up here, and these, and this one here down below, and this one up above and around here. So what I have in mind is I'm going to take a staged approach. My first preference, I just had this idea last night that I thought this could work really well, maybe, if I can pull it off. This will completely come down to whether or not it looks like a kindergartner did it. So I've been toying around with all sorts of ideas. The filler isn't working. I don't like that. I've been saying all along there's always paint. I could always just paint the whole damn base. Because it's just, say what everybody loves about quarter sawn white oak. It's got a ton of ray fleck right down the center of this. It could look cool to some people. Personally, it's not my taste. And I'm not a huge fan of oak. But it is there. I'm looking right at it. It looks good. But worst case scenario, I could always paint the whole thing. Prior to that, though, I had an idea that could be, well, if it doesn't work, I'll paint the whole thing. But I've been toying around with ideas like wrapping it with vine-looking material or something that looks like, just kind of to cover these spots. I've thought about cutting into them and making stub branches to make them look like stumps or cut off branches. Just don't like what those are, and the executing of those is trickier because it's now a very sinuous contoury, don't know if that's a word, but contoured shape. So it'd be really tough to mate with those. So first try, I think, I had this idea last night, is if I continue the tree metaphor, from an artistic standpoint, I kind of like it, by painting the silhouette of a tree on the top, on the surface of this, on the front of this. So it'll be kind of, the idea is it's wood made a table to symbolize a tree that looks like a tree, made from a tree with a tree sort of shape painted on it. So I was thinking like a black, the movie Nightmare Before Christmas, there's that Tim Burton sort of just solid color, just shapes that look like tree branches. So it'd be kind of a nighttime sort of, and I could do something that's leaving most of the grain visible without completely painting the whole thing. Because even though I dislike oak, I will admit there is some neat looking grain in here, and I won't fault anybody for liking that. It looks good. So that's, I think I'm going to try, I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to try I'm going to try painting a tree, and I hate using a paintbrush, so I have zero confidence in this whatsoever, but the idea seems cool and I don't want to lose it due to lack of trying. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to draw first with pencil where I think I'd like to, sort of plan out my look. And that's why I figured I'd wait a little while. I could get this so that the glue doesn't run out. Now it's been a few hours, so that's firm enough that I'm not worried about it running out. But I can just sit it here and just start drawing with pencil the shape that I have in my head to try to get this thing shaped accurately in a way that'll not completely suck. We'll see. So that is the plan for the moment. I want to try drawing in pencil where I think I could put some of this stuff. And it might look like crap. We'll see. We'll find out. And then I'm going to try to paint it on with acrylics. I'm trying to decide if I should shellac first or not. Because then if I shellac and seal it first and the paint doesn't work, or I need to wipe the paint off, it just doesn't look right, I can just do that. The shellac, it won't stick as well to the shellac. It'll be wipeable, basically, instead of soaking into the wood. But I think at this point, I'm not that concerned about having to test and make sure I can pull that off. If it looks like crap, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the whole freaking thing black. Or maybe not black, maybe something else. But in the end, I won't care. I have a backup plan for my backup plan. So I think what I'll do is I'll start trying to draw in pencil the shape I have in mind, and then we'll see what happens. So I'll bring you back when I'm ready to do that. Good morning. It's the next day, and this epoxy is most certainly dry by now. We're going to see what's underneath now. We're going to see how it behaves now, I should say. Didn't grab my bin for these screws, but that's all right. The question will be now whether I can get it to pop out. Pull the brass out though. Or I can just do this. Pop the brass out of there. Then should that one pop forward, that's good. No, it did not pop forward yet. Oh, it does. Yeah, it popped forward. That one's open. That one's open. Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. That's good. So, my attempts were successful, it seems. All of my pins are doing the job they need to do. And they are in place. Oh, yeah. So I glued them to the base, so we will be fine. I said something yesterday that was false. I have no problem doing the profile. I did not get things out of sequence. It turns out it's perfect. Awesome. Okay, so the pins are in place and it's good. I'm happy. Very happy. So we can take the masking tape off of here. We got no glue where I didn't want glue. No epoxy where I didn't want epoxy. I'm going to have to get the little foam bits out of there, but other than that, this is nice. I'm quite pleased. It looks like the foam may have reacted or something, because it looks all mushy, but we'll pull that stuff out and bring you up with the next steps. Awesome. Just pulling out the foam. Doesn't look like it did. It didn't react or anything. It's just, that's what it looks like when it's been smushed for a while. On the inside it looked like it was kind of like melted or something, but it's not. It's not melted at all. That's just the way it looks. Very cool. Alright. So I think my next things are going to be shape the top contour. I think that's going to be the next thing. So I'm going to get the pattern on here and get ready to start cutting that out. Okay, so we are going to get our pattern on here. Probably should have just done the tape off camera, but what the heck. So I'm trying to make sure I get this pattern placed reasonably well. I could have, if I had been thinking better, I could have made the template exactly the entire size of the top that I'm making, but I didn't, and I probably should have. It would have eased this particular part of the process. So now we got this. I'm just starting the tape, because with this tape you kind of have one shot. Once you've made contact, it's pretty much going to stick. But what I'm going to do is make it so I can pull it out from underneath it while I get it positioned. So I'll show you that here. Might as well. Where's the roll of blue tape here? Right there. Okay. I'm just going to put some handles on this. This route, and then this route, like so. Now I can set this on here like that. You'll see why this is useful here in a second. Maybe you'll see that, or you'll see that I'm batshit crazy. One of the two. Actually, you probably already know I'm batshit crazy. That's newsflash. Couple of tiny bits of tape for insurance. This might have been easier a different way, but this is the way I'm going about it. Well, now it's definitely not easier because I stuck myself to the stuff I'm trying to stick down. Okay. Okay. And we can apply this one to there. Okay. Now I have little handles, so I can pull these up a ways. You can still grab onto them. Put my template on here. Now I can use my gauge blocks to ensure that we are where I want to be. Slide down a little ways here. Hold on this corner. Ooh, we gotta come back this way. Come back over here. Hold on this corner. Pretty good. Okay, so now I'm just gonna. That didn't work. Shoot. Well, that didn't work. Let's try it again. No, that isn't working. That method will work if I can get it to stay put while I tug the. Nope. Nerp. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. But the tape has torn, so that's on there. That'll work. Come down here. Do the exact same thing to this side. Hopefully with less drama. Okay. I just got one in place, so I'm just going to hold it up, position it, and let it drop down. Yeah. Center should be easy. It is. Yeah, that'll do. Yep, that landed where I'd like it. That landed where I'd like it. That's where I'd like it. Good. Okay, so now our pattern is on and in place. I'm just going to take this extra bit, yeah, high in the middle, and just set it here because this will help with the routing, so it'll have a flat base to set on. And take this over to the bandsaw and cut out this rough profile here real quick. I'll bring you back. Alright, so we've rough cut that on the bandsaw. We're about a 1/8 in some places, 1/16 in most. Fairly little bit to flush trim. I've got a good old size flush trim bit in here. And I'm going to sneeze here in a second, maybe. Anyway, so I got this flush trim bit with the bearing just barely surfaced. It's going to ride along the side of the pattern. We're just going to get after it. This is why I have this shim here, so I can keep it flat against the table. Alright, so I was digging through my collection of router bits, and I have, you know, a manner of chamfer bits and cove, roundover bits, but I have very few cove bits. I have one that's like a 1/2 inch diameter. It's just too little for what I want here. So what I've done is I went to my panel raisers, and I've got a cove panel raising bit in here. But by a bearing that goes on it puts it way too deep into the edge, so it would have cut into these things here. So I put a bigger bearing on from my rabbiting bit collection, but even that gets me about 1/4 inch to this. It's still too close for my liking. So I turned a Delrin bushing that's about another 5/16 probably larger in radius, so it now comes way out here, so we should be really good as far as not hitting my joinery or my ooh, I better double check that. I put it in far enough so that there'd be room to scallop this, I think. It was 6 inches. It was 6 inches, I remember that. And it was from the center. So if there's 6 there, that's gonna put it very, 4.5, so put it there. It's gonna get close-ish, so we can't go too deep on the scallop, which is even another reason not to go very deeply on the scallop. I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be fine. I'm giving myself doubt. I don't want to hit the mortise that it's in either. So if we were at 4.5, at 9, then go 3, so there's 1, 2, 3. That's going to put us a little over an inch and a little under 1.5 inches from this edge. I can't remember how big it was. It might have only been a 5-inch one. I remember knowing that I wanted to scallop. We'll just have to be careful. We're gonna. This is one of those moments where it's like I can't remember for sure how big it was. I could go back to the video, I guess, but where's my fun then? Where's the fun in that, eh? So I'm just gonna wing it, and fingers crossed. No, I think it'll be all right. I'm not too concerned. So we're gonna get after this in very light stages. Right now I'm taking maybe a 1/16 of an inch. I've got the bit slowed, the router slowed way down. We're going to just ease into this a little profile. So, okay, music time. Okay, safety tip. These bearings that I've got have little bushings in them turns out that little bushing is underneath. So we're going to have to, I could have had that pop out of there at any given time. So I need to flip this around so that the bushing is on the other side, holding it down. I didn't realize there was a bushing there. But that has been, I've been lucky for the last 4 or 5 passes, or however many that was, that I did not have this fly off on me. And now we are definitely too far out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find a way to push this out a little. Be right back. Alright, we got that secured again. Man, that was silly, but we're better now. We're going to keep on going. We've got a ways more, I think. I don't know if I like quite, I'm not sure I'm done just yet. And I'm just, depth-wise, I'm just going to go until it feels like I'm done. Until it feels right. So, keep on going. Okay, so we got the bottom scallop. I actually really like it. It's going to be tough for you to see on the camera, but there's a little flat right here. It might be a 1/16 of an inch tall, but it's just the curve stopped, and then there's a little flat, like a fillet right there, which is actually I really like. I think that's great where that is. Creates a neat little shadow line right there. The next thing I want to do is, I still don't like how thick this is, but I don't want to go any deeper here. So I'm going to take this, it's a chamfer bit, but it's a 60-degree chamfer, it's not a 45. So it'll be a bit deeper in, and it'll just be a nice little shallow, catch of this. So I'm going to switch out the router bit and change to that piece and bring it back. Alright, yeah, I like that better. I think that adds it. It thins out this just a little further, so it's not quite as dramatic for me. I think I like that. I do believe I'm impressed with that. I do believe I like it, is what I'm trying to say. So that's pretty much the shaping of the top. We're ready to start making this thing ready for finish. The sanding lines need to come out and all that good stuff. So we're going to switch ourselves back over to the bench. And yeah, I think this thing's ready for some finishy stuff. Okay, slight change of plans. We went looking for some acrylic paints that I had in my drawer, and there aren't any black in there. So I don't like using a brush in the first place. So between that and my distaste for using a brush, I'm using it as an excuse. Fully acknowledging that I am using it as an excuse, I've decided instead of trying to paint this by hand, I'm going to mask it off and then use my airbrush, because I'm used to my airbrush, I'm comfortable with my airbrush. I know a lot of people hate my airbrush, but that is those people, not me. And so I'm just going to give this masking idea a shot. I'm going to use my thin masking tape to mask off the areas that I'm after. Well, I'm not going to do it if I can't keep a hold of it. Let's see. And I'm just going to follow my pencil lines pretty well. Roughly pretty well, because it does still need to be an organic shape, but it can be a little jagged, so I'm okay with that. And then I'll come in with an X-Acto knife in a couple of these spots and cut the actual shape out of it. Let's take a knife now. Let's see, which one do I want to use? Alright, well, it's a little weird looking, I'll acknowledge. It's the ugliest thing I've ever built on purpose. But kind of looks a little bit like flames at the moment. We're gonna find out if this is good or bad. I'm gonna mask the rest of the outsides so I don't spray onto them, but we're getting close to applying, so we'll be back in a sec. Well, it's all masked. Looks weird. Looks like flames at the moment, but everything's masked off now. I'm ready to start the coatings. The first thing I want to do is throw down a layer of shellac just to seal things so that the color itself doesn't try to bleed too much. Might have been better to do that before the tape went on, but hey, we'll see. So I'm just going to go after this. You've seen me spray before, maybe, but it's not anything fancy. I'm going to use my airbrush because it's my favorite sprayer, essentially. So we're just going to get after this with the shellac first. There's a really thin coating of shellac first, just to seal everything. So we'll go after that first, and then we'll start paint. Okay, bring you back in a minute. Well, it's what I told it to do. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I hate it. There's a fair bit of bleeding on here, so there's spots here, and there's a fair bit that bled under the mask, so I'm not ready to decide that it's dead at this point yet. I'm going to see if I can clean up the marks, the bleeding a little bit around the edges, and then I'm going to sleep on it, and we'll see what it looks like when I look at it again. I think it's a bit stark. Then again, maybe it's perfect, but I think it's a bit stark. I had pictured a tree shape. It looks tree-shaped. It's got little branches and limbs and things. It's just ugly. But maybe it's alright that it's ugly. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Jury's out still on whether I'm going to keep it like this or not. Yeah, we're going to have to see how things come along here. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to rest on it for a bit and see how I feel about it in a couple of days. But